This is Brittany Clark, and she has a really integral part of my story. Brittany and I met in a CEO mom's business group, and I remember her shrinking back just a little bit, pulling back after she made this powerful declaration. And I felt something bubble up. I was like, I can't hold back. I need to say something. So I said, don't shrink. And right there, something was born. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Do Not Shrink podcast. I am Daffney Allwein. I am your host. And I am actually with the woman who started it all for me. This is Brittany Clark, and she has a really integral part of my story and this podcast in particular. Hi, Brittany.
Hi.
Now,
So
Brittany and I
excited.
met in a CEO mom's business group, and she had a really important declaration. We were doing a lot of coaching and treating each other to all the cheerleading we need. And Brittany started telling her story, and she had a dynamic story about this big career jump, amazing thing she was ready to do. And in that same breath, I remember her shrinking back just a little bit, pulling back after she made this powerful declaration about what was really true and aligned with her. And I felt something bubble up. I was like, I can't hold back. I need to say something. So, with as much love, I hope I interjected myself into that conversation, and I said, "Don't shrink." And right there, something was born. Something was born. We had coffee about it later, and we talked about this exact podcast.
Mhm.
Thanks, Brittany. Brittany's going to be our host today. She's going to actually tell us what this podcast is all about and ask all the questions.
Yes, I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much. And yeah, seriously, I remember that day, and I remember it because I was probably like 6 months postpartum still when we started it. And I remember I was still in the emotions, still like really deep in everything. And I was, telling my story. And then you said it, and it was the perfect thing that I needed to hear. And to this day, like I'll be doing something and I can feel myself shrinking and I can hear your voice like, don't shrink. And I'm like, I'm back at it. I'm good. And
No.
it's forever life changing. So, yeah, I'm very excited to be a part of this. And I'm very excited to be asking you all types of questions. And yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. Brittany, you are a mom
Yes.
like myself.
Mhm.
And one of the biggest transformations you could ever make as a human being, I don't mean just as a woman, I mean as a human being,
Mm,
to be put into this new situation where you are the leader of these little people and you are an instant leader, whether or not you think you have the training for it. And we have often commented on the mentorship that comes from just having children. They are
yeah.
little teachers. All right,
Mm.
Brady, I'm going to let you ask the big questions.
Okay. All right. Let's begin. Okay. So, why a podcast?
Oh, well, I hope my lead up might have been enough, but podcasting is one of those forums where you don't need to pay to play. You're not somebody who had to ever ask permission
Mhm.
to share and help other people grow. In a lot of other formats, broadcasting, speaking, I always sort of found that wall where you had to know someone, you had to be recognized by somebody, it was a little bit nepotism maybe in some ways, but podcasting is unapologetically, and I hope for everybody, authentic.
Yeah. It's exactly that. I mean, it's something that you can really get into, and it's very personable too, which is really nice. I mean, you no matter if you're listening to it when you're on a run or driving, you just feel super connected to someone. So, who was Daphne at 10 years old?
Oof, I see a lot of myself in my oldest daughter, and,
Mm,
it's a good representation that at 10, I was somebody who really wanted to be taken seriously. I
mm,
was somebody who really put a lot of myself out there to feel and absorb and notice everything in my environment, mostly people, and I learned very early on that even if I was a little bit of an introvert, I was a people person, right?
right?
I everybody's energy came through me. Ooh, everybody was a mentor. Sometimes I talk about, never having a professional mentor,
Mhm,
never feeling like I had that teacher. I never had that, boss. I never had that, coach for myself, because I've had a lot of clients who've mentioned their mentors, and I thought to myself, I'm like, I can't name one single person that I
mhm,
would consider a mentor in my life. And in retrospect, the truth is that every person that I've ever met in my life has been my mentor. They've been another set of eyes. They've been another perspective. They've been another experience that I feel like I've lived 1,000 years already
mhm.
sometimes.
Oh, that's beautiful. And at 10 to be that self-aware, that's
If I could tell you the odd Christmas requests I used to have as a child, I joked with a friend one time. When I was in 2nd grade, I took myself so seriously, right,
yeah.
that I asked for, because there were no computers back in my day,
Mm.
I asked for an electric typewriter because I needed to write my memoir at in 2nd grade. Like, in 2nd grade, I could finally read, right? I could finally write, and I
That's
needed an typewriter to do that, and do you know what I got that year? An electric typewriter, and it had a handle, right? So I could carry it around. It was very
appreciate.
convenient. Yeah.
Mm,
But as a child, like, I knew that I had this really important thing I needed to do. I needed to write it down. I needed to share with people. I needed to engage with people. And yeah, I had the oddest Christmas requests as a child.
I think that's, incredible. I think that's awesome that you were so self-aware to feel like you have such a purpose at that young age. Because I mean, at 10, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing at 10? Watching a lot of cartoons and like, I mean, that's impressive. And that says
Yeah, yeah.
that actually makes sense.
Oh,
Right?
thank you.
Like,
Yeah, and it's funny because depending on where you grew up,
yeah.
you didn't have a lot of different experiences in the world. You were very, maybe you grew up in a small community like I did, and there were only a certain number of jobs that you were
Mhm.
exposed to. There was only a certain number of concepts. There certainly were only a certain number of cultures that, I was exposed to. And I'm glad you said that, but TV was one of those mediums where, like, I was just compelled to just absorb TV and
Oh, yeah.
shows, and I watched way too much Nick at Night or whatever was popular at the time because I also wanted to connect with, and I didn't know this, right? I was a kid, but I really felt a sense of when I watched these, like, rerun shows, right? That I was able to connect with an entire generation of people. It's really funny
Mhm.
to say that. I can't tell you how many ridiculous Dragnet quotes I know, or "I Love Lucy," or whatever Brady Bunch reference I could come up with, and I can connect with generations of people through this experience I had that I got to live because TV offered that then, right?
That's very interesting that you say that. Because so do you think that that kind of, like, shaped you in wanting to connect and to write your memoir because you wanted to, like, document and you wanted to kinda see you're watching the TV shows, you're watching someone's life play out. Do you think that that kind of, like, gave you that want to document?
Yeah. I think I recognized early on if I had the self-awareness to know this, then I don't know, or if it was just innate to me at the time, but I knew I wasn't a fit for where I grew up. Maybe not a way that I've ever felt like an outcast. I just knew it wasn't a right fit. It wasn't an alignment for me. So I never felt like an outcast. I never felt, I mean, we all had bullies and some of mine were grown up people, which
Yeah.
is really interesting when you think about it.
Yeah.
But, to that, I mean, even to that specific thought, like if you had grown up with a bully who was maybe an adult, it may give you a real sense of awareness of adults have flaws too. Adults have shortcomings too. Adults have backstories too. And to recognize that at an early age where I'm like, okay, there's something going on here. And I want to know. I want to get to the bottom of why this person acts this way. Yeah, I have to say it was innate. It's not like I had any awareness of what I was doing.
That's incredible because I just now at 38 am kind of like looking at my parents like, "Oh, you're literally just like a more grown up kid." I mean, you know what I mean? Like, it's just to sit there and be like, "We're
Sometimes, right?
kids."
Like sometimes,
Right.
like when you get to a certain age, sometimes you even recognize that you've outpaced some of the adults in your life, and you're like,
Yes.
"Oh, I'm the adult now. Oh, I'm the adult." Okay.
Mhm.
Um, Yeah, there's no direct correlation to age and maturity or age and awareness or age and
Mm.
experience, right? It is a choice.
Yeah.
And wow, you learn that when you become a parent, huh?
Oh my gosh. Yes, absolutely. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Talk about my greatest teacher. Yeah,
Yeah, oh my gosh. Yes, yes, because it
right.
is a mirror. It's a mirror.
It's
And
it's it's sometimes it's beyond a mirror. And this is why, when you ask that question about who was I at 10, here's a great anecdotal story for this is I remember this is just a few weeks ago. I'm in the car
mhm,
and a child of 4 years old is sitting behind me, and I'm trying to have a very direct, very impassioned conversation with her father about how I was very frustrated with a circumstance that may or may not have been in his control, probably was. And I was trying to do it in a way that I wasn't affecting her because I remember my
yeah,
experiences with adults having arguments in front of me right,
mhm,
and I wanted to protect that space for her, but also really draw that line about here's my boundary and this is not going to be the case anymore. And all of a sudden from the back seat, right? Like I'm thinking, I think I'm doing so great, like being professional, cutting it, right?
right.
And, from the backseat, I hear the song, "I love you when you're mad. I love you still." Just start singing, and I'm gonna tell you, she repeated herself in sing-song no less than 40 times, to the point where I hung up the phone because she right? And then I started crying.
Oh, you
And I realized in that moment, I thought it was guilt because I was like, "Oh, she got it. She picked up on it. She knows. She's smarter than I think she is." But when I realized what I was really upset about is that's the first time I recognize that she understands unconditional love.
oh,
She understood that what I needed in that moment
yeah,
was to allow myself to be upset and to be mad and to be okay with being mad in that space, right?
easy.
She was creating a safe space for me.
Yeah,
I'm 40 years older than her. What the hell, right? Like, how does that work? So, we pretend that if we read enough self-help books, if we say the right thing, if we chant, we mantra, we go to the correct, religious, like, it's already in us. It's
yeah,
in us at 4, right? It's in us, and we know if we're willing to push off some of those other voices that we already know. We already have the way.
yeah. Oh my god, I'm actually going through, like, a whole bunch of, like, inner child stuff now, and so that hits.
We all should. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. For her to just be like, "Hey, this needs a little piece, and I'm gonna bring it." Like, she learned the awareness from you, but, like, in a good way, where it's just, like, she's
Yeah.
able to almost feel the emotion, but then not take it on herself. She's able to provide, like,
It's
that
incredible. It's
I
incredible. It's a skill it took me 40 years to figure out,
Don't
to
figure it
not
out.
project, to not embody somebody else's frustration or anger.
Mm,
And she just knows. She just
just
knew.
feels.
She
Yeah.
knew what was wrong with me. She knew she knew I was struggling with feeling guilty about, being upset in front of her, and she knew what I needed was unconditional love in that moment and
Mhm.
allowing me to feel how I was feeling.
I love that. I love that. Well, that actually brings me into my next question. So I know that, like, as someone who provides support for other people, right? And like, would you coaching in a way, and or do you not take that title, or is it? Because
It is such a, the short answer is yes,
yeah,
right? Like,
mhm,
like, yes.
yeah,
Coaching to me, and maybe that's the big question, is coaching is support. Coaching is somebody who listens and sees you and wants you to be successful. So sometimes we see the overselling of that word. We oversee. So when someone says they're a coach, but they're also selling you something, they're selling
right,
you supplements, they're selling you a program, they're in it for them, right? They're in
mm,
it for what they can benefit from. So if they're a coach with the understanding that they're coaching you in a direction, that's not what coaching is. Coaching is about uncovering your truth and
mhm,
asking the right questions and finding whether it's health or peace or strategy. The coach is there to push you forward, not their agenda. So whenever I see somebody who calls themselves a coach,
yeah,
but they're really there to sell you something or they're really there for their agenda, that's not a coach.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, no, byline. We'll talk about that later.
That's good. I like that. So, being that in that supportive realm, do you have any like favorite clients, like, or maybe like favorite circumstances that you helped a client through?
Yeah. Oh gosh, I can't. There's too many of them listening. I can't say this. Do I have favorite clients? Yes. Yeah, I do have favorite clients. And I think what I would say I love everybody I work with. And I mean that sincerely, that I could not invest myself, my energy, and my time into someone who isn't ready to see themselves forward. So I fall in love with their with their story and what they're trying to accomplish and who they are in a way that embodies and supports that direction. So my favorite client is not a gender, it's not an age, it's not a objective. It's someone who is not afraid to see their own blind spots. Like my favorite coaching is somebody who recognizes that they're human but also recognizes their own sovereignty, that like they are in charge. They are able to make choices that will dynamically impact them. So I'll paint it with that brushstroke. That brushstroke. Yeah.
I like that. And those are the best types of support because I mean, obviously, a person's not going to change unless they want to. And you to be able to pave that path or help pave that path with them, that's nice. I mean, that is also that will yield better
It's an
results.
honor. Honestly, if someone trusts you and you form that bond to see them to another evolution of themselves or evolution of their situation, an honor for someone to choose you to be on their team or to partner with them. So, yeah, coaching is a partnership.
Yeah. I like that. How did you did don't shrink, did that like pop up in your own head in that moment, or is that your own little thing that you've had?
This is why I had to give you full credit for this because these words would not have bubbled out of my mouth if I didn't need to share it with you in that moment. And when you did, and when you gave me that opportunity to just say it like it was with grace and without any pushback whatsoever, you're like, yeah, okay, yeah. Um, you ignited something in me. So as much as you felt like you were struggling in that moment, you like lit a fire or at least let a fire out that I could share that with you And I'm pretty sure that, within like a few weeks, you and I had coffee and I'm like, I wrote this manifesto and I need you
Yeah,
to read it.
yes. And the whole thing was like, "Yes, yes, yes, yes."
Yes, exactly.
Oh,
Uh,
well, good. Well, that I mean, it's changed. It's not only mine, like, the whole group too, the whole mastermind, they were all like, "Yep." Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Daphne. And I'm pretty sure we would all get it tattooed if we could,
okay.
because I definitely want to.
After
Um,
summer. Yeah.
yeah, just, like, on my arm. Um, what what's your biggest fitness, wellness accomplishment? So, like, I would say mentally, you've been accomplishing everything, but, like, fitness, wellness in that realm. Also, side note, like, would you I don't even know where I'm really going with this question, but, like, would you categorize mental under fitness, or are those just, like, 2
Ooh.
separate things?
Oh, that's a great question. When I'm coaching, when I'm talking to, and I will go back to that greatest fitness accomplishment yet. When I'm coaching, there are 3 parts that I'm always dynamically considering, right? So it's your physiology, right? What's going on with your muscles, your fascia, your ligaments in that moment, right? I'm also looking at what you might be struggling with at the top, right?
Mhm, very
Whether
good.
it's what you're saying to yourself, what you believe is possible in your head makes a big difference when we're working together. And a lot of that is you verbally, sharing that with me and us asking questions. But the piece that a lot of people miss, even in that, and whenever I talk to somebody who's ever had a personal trainer and they're like, what's different about working with you? Is that they miss that nervous system piece,
Mhm.
right? They don't have the eyes, the ears, the whatever it is to look for those pieces of anxiety, right? Or what's going on and why those muscles are starting to twitch or shake or find imbalance. And you're like, what? Like that's new, right? That didn't happen last week when we did this, in this series. And those 3 elements are so dynamic together and so important to consider as a whole body.
Mm,
So mentally, we need to be well, right? And that means something different for everybody.
yeah.
We need to be really aware of our nervous system. So, and nervous system is sort of a big way to say how the outside world is affecting us, right? It's the environmental cues that we're taking, and it could get down to the nutrition of what we ingested, right? What we brought in from our environment, right?
Yeah.
Air, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And then how your physical body is responding to those. So it's kind of like 3 different tuning forks that I'm watching the whole time as we're having this session,
Oh,
which
wow.
is which is such a great package, right? Because you can heal, you can move past things much easier. And I'm talking injury, I'm talking mindset, I'm talking, fear, anxiety. All of these things can be considered in these sessions that we do, which is huge. And when you walk out after 45 minutes or an hour, or you log off your computer, you're literally a different person. Your entire like neural pathways are, being challenged in a different way, your body, physically, you're just breathing, walking, feeling better. So
Mm,
yeah, it's really important that it's not just one rung. It's not just I did this really incredible workout and that lasted 2 hours, right?
yeah.
And now I feel the dread of going back to work. Like you've
Mm,
got to walk out with a real different Solange, right? A real different,
yeah.
like permeating energy. And that's what really moves mountains, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, we all that anxiety and our body holds on to all of that. So to working out might be making it worse in a way too, because then you're like stressing yourself, you're stressing your muscles out, you're stressing your body out. So to be able to hit all of those,
Yeah.
that I mean, it's the only way to do it, really.
Yeah. That is it. That is, yeah. And there are different modalities of exercise, and sometimes we jump on trends and we say, if I do 5 days a week of high intensity training, well, what do you think that's actually doing to your body? Or you're not doing the proper recovery, right? What kind of stress, cortisol, things like that is actually building in your body. So it's all about awareness of what your body needs and not telling your body what it needs, right?
So do you have I guess, a favorite transformation that you've helped with a client?
So many. And I have I've seen so much change on so many different levels for people, and I'm talking where their life circumstances change, um, as a result of them losing 50 pounds,
Mm.
where, you know, I have the pleasure and opportunity to work with people for 10 to 15 years sometimes. So I'm not always just meeting somebody for a year or 2, although that's a lot of fun too. It's just to see what we can do in 6 months' time.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is when you get to see somebody through multiple transitions of their life and then look back and say, "Oh my god, I remember that person who was 50 pounds overweight,
Mm.
and they were married to this person, and they were having these problems at work, and they were whatever." And now I look at them 10 years later, and I'm like, right? I have one client in particular who I adore, and he went from 50 pounds overweight to running marathons, and he was never a runner, right? In 2 years. And I don't think he knew that that goal was inside of him until he put it out to me, like you might have, right? Like, "I really wanna do this thing." I'm like, "Let's do it."
Mhm.
And it's just there's so much when you are invested in seeing someone be successful, they know it. You're not selling them something. They see your investment, and that's the difference. That's where success happens.
That's amazing. That I can only admit, and having a client that long too, I mean, you literally are going through them not only in like certain you're going through chapters with them. It's not just a one instance. You're like, that's
That's
great.
that's been the bulk of my work too, which I really appreciate because it is. You really, like, fold everybody into your life, and it's like living life with them, and sort of like I said before, it's like you get this perspective of all these other lifetimes and experiences that you would have never had
Yeah,
based on helping somebody through those circumstances.
it's beautiful. So, since you've had all of these clients and since you've had clients for a very long time, you've been accused of never meeting a stranger. So,
Oh,
it's true? Is that the right?
I don't even know if it's specific to them, but I love to travel. I love to meet people every place I go. I mean, even in elevators, and to the point where I have friends who are maybe on the introverted scale who, I have traveled with,
Oh,
and you can tell it's, like, very uncomfortable to them that I have brand new friends every time we leave, and the best part is, like, I don't speak the language, right? Like, I have to really rely on, like, bad French, bad Spanish, and the hope that that person knows English really well because there is this, like, unspoken language when someone knows that you're really engaged and that you really have a question and you're really curious about them,
yeah,
that they are just an open book. They feel safe, they feel seen, they feel heard, and I rarely sit on a train by myself. Like, I will travel by myself. I've traveled by myself often, but I usually have a new Facebook buddy or, like, bestie by
yeah.
the end, and, I remember even taking, right after I finished breastfeeding baby number 1, we had this big plan that I was gonna leave. I was going to you remembered what's like going through breastfeeding, you're like, "I just need to
Mhm.
be a person again." So I went on this great, trip to Banff. It was just me, and, I was meeting a group of yoga-minded people, and I didn't know anybody. I knew nobody, and I get on the plane, and first stop is Toronto because I had to come up to Toronto first, and
Yeah,
of course, I'm meeting this really sweet couple. I hope they're listening. Hi, Andrea. And we're talking, and she is sharing this powerful story of her upbringing and some of the things that happened to her. And, I was able to share with her. And in true fashion, when I travel, my luggage always gets lost. I don't know why. I'm always the lucky person. And these wonderful people walked me through the place because I've never been, right,
right.
in this, airport before. Walk me through, take me exactly where I need to go, tell me they're gonna stay with me until I get my bags so that they know that I'm safe, right?
Yeah,
They're so worried about I met them an hour and a half earlier, right? And, like, this is a common thread for me. It's just I love this idea of a podcast because I love connecting with people at their core, like who they really are. I'm terrible at small talk. So if you ever see me in a coffee shop, run if you don't want to talk to me. Um, it's true. Everybody's got an amazing, powerful story if you're willing to really spend the time.
Yeah, you have that aura about you that is very inviting. And I don't know if it sometimes is I wouldn't say annoying at times, but like I know that you probably are like
Oh,
talk
I have older siblings that will tell you I am annoying, probably, right? Yes.
no, 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 not like you're annoying.
No,
It's the fact that like people come up to you constantly just because you have that very open aura. You have that very
thank you.
open space. You provide that like literally wherever you are. And I'm wondering if it's like, do people trauma dump on you or is it literally just like
That's a really good question. I would never consider it trauma dumping, although because it's also a space where I often find a piece of myself in that person. I think that's kind of when I'm having a conversation with a stranger and they're telling me this compelling story and they feel safe and they feel seen and you can tell they're authentically telling their story. They're not guarding themselves from me because I'm a stranger. Who cares, right? They never see me again except for on Facebook. Um, but they're sharing openly with me. And when I'm hearing their story, I'm also hearing parts of myself, right? Like, oh, I had that trauma too. Or, oh, I had a parent or a teacher, whoever it is, who, yeah, I can relate to that. And I think they can see that. I think that people, when I talk to people, they can see that, they can feel that. And actually, I hope they do. I
yeah.
hope they feel seen. I hope they feel safe when they talk to me.
I can say that yes, yes, that is it. Because when I first met you, I felt safe, seen, understood, all of it. And it was almost like I knew you. I've known you forever. But yeah, we just met that one time. So or like in the beginning, the mastermind. And yeah, absolutely. Like I felt like I could absolutely just tell you everything about myself. But for me, like I am on the kind of like introverted side. So I always have like this internal voice that's like, no one wants to hear you talk. Stop. So I'm wondering, do you have like a voice or like someone on your shoulder that's like kind of combating with you or like this internal kind of like compass that's like pointing you in different ways, different directions?
One of the things that I enjoy talking to you about is that you and I kind of dip into the woo-woo sometimes in like a fun way that like we must have had 300 lives or maybe two other lives together. Um, and it's fun, it's compelling, it's a way to connect with each other. But I had a session with a massage specialist one time, and she is definitely rooted and grounded in Reiki and things like that.
Mhm.
But I worked with her in a capacity called Bowen therapy, which is a type of massage where it's nervous system based.
Ooh.
But part of that, and I'll send your information the link if you guys want. It's fantastic. Part of that is having conversations with her, and I think she said something, just floated to see how I would take it. She's like, "Did you feel like there was somebody with you?" And I was like, "Oh, I always feel like I have like a bunch of counterparts, that like sort of help me through the day." And I'll say it that way. Some people say them that they're guardian angels or whatever it is. I just feel like there's just what keeps me laughing during the day, what keeps me upbeat, what keeps me me. And I jokingly said to her one day, I feel like I like have this pirate type character, right? This like Blackbeard, this like Long John Silver type who like is like so articulate, I guess, and is so easygoing and people trust this person. But then there's like this like nefarious sort of like giggle laugh in the background. It just sort of this is how you operate.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the reason I think that's funny or compelling is that even as a kid, I knew, and this character probably has been on my shoulder maybe for some time, where it's that the world isn't black and white.
Mm.
The world is not as simple as people tell us it is when we're kids, right? We know there's a way to maneuver. We know there's a way to like, if you watch your own kids, you know that they've figured that out too. And I think there's sort of this like little sheepish laugh on my shoulder where every once in a while someone's like, "Oh, you can't do that. you can't do that. That's not the way that goes." And I'm like, "Really? Really?" So this character that's on my shoulder, right? I don't we'll call him Blackbeard. I don't know what his name is, but like it's a reminder that like not everything's black and white and that everything has, purpose and every opportunity is there to shape.
So would you to me when I hear you say all that stuff, you're very you give off this confidence that's just like I'm not only aware of myself, I'm aware of my surroundings, I'm aware of like what I can and cannot do, but I'm going to push it a little bit. So where did you get that confidence from? Was it innate or was like did you go through a lot of situations to where you kind of like built that up?
I think anything is innate. We talk about values and who
Mm,
we know we are. And I think at the root for me, I've always found two themes. It's optimism
mm,
and courage. And at the base of who I am, where, the very fiber of who I am, it's always been looking at things in the realm of possibility, like what's possible, even if it sounds outlandish and, I'm 4 feet tall, but I wanna be on the varsity basketball team. It's crazy, but in my mind, I'm very optimistic that there's something I can figure out. And courage is I'm gonna do it anyway.
mhm.
Even if I fail, I'm gonna put it out there. And I think maybe it's just written in the stars for me. And of course, we all have past and childhood trauma or conditioning that either reinforces those fibers or stifles them, right? So I was probably lucky enough in my hypervigilance type conditioning that I figured out that yeah, I'm gonna be okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good because it's for me it's confidence has been like this practice. Like I've constantly had to like get over myself in those ways of just, letting my fear take over, but also knowing like, hey, it's not gonna be the end of the world if someone laughs at me, or it's not gonna be the end of the world if this doesn't go right.
Thank you
And
for saying that, by the way. It is practice. And
yeah.
everyone thinks that confidence is natural. It's just
Mhm.
it's practice, right? It's feeling uncomfortable. It's being unsure and doing it anyway. I had a podcast interview I did the other day, and it's really about stepping off that ledge. I think it's a Indiana Jones reference, maybe if you're like, but basically just step off the ledge. What's the worst that can happen? Right. And I think even that framing, what's the worst that could happen is not a match for me. It's like, what's the possibility of taking this step, and that falls in podcast land too.
Okay.
Taking this step so that I can share with more people, I can coach with more people, I can be impactful with more people.
Yeah.
Because sometimes being the best kept secret is not a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's so
it's
good.
practice. It really is practice.
Yeah. Yeah. That oh, I forgot. Like I had something had happened recently and it was almost like just completely just paralyzed me, right? And it was a fear kind of thing and to be able to and again, I'm not going to lie. You popped into my head and every time it's just like don't fucking why are we doing this? Why are we shrinking? Like don't.
Yeah.
And so I was able to get over whatever I was fearful at that time. And I stood my ground. I actually like stood straighter. Like I felt myself like, okay, we're doing this. And it was not as bad as I thought it was. So being able to instill that and just almost trust yourself too. Trusting in yourself, trusting that you can do it is just,
That's big work. That's
it's,
big work for anybody who's
oh,
willing to admit it.
oh, yeah,
Trusting yourself is probably the biggest job you can learn.
absolutely. Okay, we have one more question. And it's since you were so aware at your young age of 10 and being able to like figure out what you want. If you, knowing what you know now in the direction that you are going in, would you have pointed your younger self in a different direction to either speed up the process or slow down the process, or the journey rather?
Oof. At 43, I can tell you, oof, I have no regrets. I
Mm,
have no regrets. If you had asked me that exact question 5 years ago, I would have ignorantly told you, "Yeah, I would have just, like, not wasted this time at this school or getting this or, working with this group." But I am so aware now at 43, and that's, 8 years of failed IVF. That's, staying with companies when maybe they didn't, understand and appreciate what the value was that I was
mm,
giving. It is all important, and the timing is even more important because I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready for a kid at 35. I thought I was. In fact, the only thing that was really pushing me to the point of shingles, um, to, like, get this baby thing done was this idea that I was running out of time, and being 40, having a baby, and then having a baby again at 43, it's liberating because you know that you could have never done that. You could have never reached back in time. It was not the right time. It was not the right, um, version of yourself is the right way to say it.
mm.
Um, and I'm so grateful for every moment, every mistake, every bad date, everything that ever came, right? I am so grateful for all of it because I survived every single one of those days.
Yeah. Oh gosh, yes. That's exactly what I needed to hear because I find myself looking back and being like, "Oh gosh, if I just didn't go to that school or if I didn't meet that person or," but then yeah, you have to realize that all of that led you to this very moment. And in this very moment, we are at a place that we wish we were back then. So I mean, it's very interesting to come to terms with the fact that you can't change the past and we have to be, almost open to just doing whatever we want to do in this moment, in this time now that we have.
It's a gift to look back, right?
Yeah.
Like, even just thinking of it in that context, I'm like, "God, that was not a good choice," or, "That was not wise," or, "Wow, I let anger really drive that day," or insecurity, or whatever the driver was for the decision that I made.
Mhm.
What a gift to look back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and be happy about where you are standing.
And then that's, I think gratitude has been like a huge practice for me lately. And you with your optimism and all that kind of like you have to have that.
Yeah, you
It-
you find those fundamental threads through your life, right? You're gonna look at every story that you've ever heard, every accident, every injury, every, transgression, whatever it was, whatever chapter, and you're gonna see those similar threads. And even in coaching with people, sometimes when people feel compelled to tell me their story, I can see those threads.
Mm,
And it's almost like exercise repetitions, right? So, there's a repetition of reliving or joining a certain dynamic over and over again in your life until you're willing to say, I'm done with that version of myself. And it's not until you're aware of your behavior that you can step out of that behavior, right? If
yeah.
you don't know you're standing inside of a box, it's really hard to get out of that box, right? So sometimes I get to be that set of eyes that can show you where the box is or where the door is for the box or the cutter, whatever that thing is,
Yeah.
right? Right, like, you can be inventive, you can find other ways outside of that box, but if you don't realize that you keep coming back into that box every single time, you can't leave.
Mm-mm.
So,
Yeah. No. And again, back to awareness. It is being able and having an outside set of eyes, like you said, look and able to show you like, hi, this is what you're doing. This is what you need to be doing. But in a way where it again paves the path for them because you can't change someone who isn't willing to see that. And so that's I think it's very, very important. And what you're doing and what you're providing and how you're supporting people is just something that this world needs so much. And I thank you and everything that you do. And I love you so much.
Thank
You're
you.
amazing.
Thank you. I love you. You're wonderful, and thank you for birthing this out of me so that I can share this with everybody. That giant expulsion of "Don't fucking shrink, Brittany," was
I'm
just the
hated
moment. Yeah,
people.
it's the moment everybody else in the world benefited
Yeah.
by you being honest and being vulnerable. So, Brittany, thank you so much for
Thank you.
being the interviewer this time and
Yeah,
sharing with me. I hope you can come back on, and I hope we can do more of these together.
absolutely.
Um, and Brittany actually is a very, very talented designer. So if you are interested in web design, especially if you align with being unique and having your voice heard and having people see you for who you really are in your business and in your brand, Brittany is the person to talk to. She definitely sees as much as she hears. So I will make sure that I link her information here in the bio. Check her out. Brittany, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Hey,